Hello and welcome to BloombergQuint. I'm Nikki Mirchandani and we're in conversation with the management whose IPO was the most subscribed since 2017, and the stock has got listed to a 74% premium as compared to issue price. Yes, you've got it right. We're in conversation with Mrs. Bectors Food Specialities Managing Director, Mr. Anup Bector. Hello and welcome to BloombergQuint. Congratulations for splendid listing, and I'm sure it's a big day for you. But
thank you so much. Yeah.
For the sake of investors who've not been lucky to get enough your, the stocks at this point of time, and for making them understand the business in a little better way, we'd like to understand at this point of time, your market share is close to 1% of the industry size, which is 38,000 crore. Going forward in the next 5 years, how do you, intend to scale up your market share? What's the quantum can we expect? And what sort of additional revenue would those market shares get in?
Firstly, we are very humbled and full of gratitude and thank all our stakeholders and investors who have invested in the company. And, we thank them. In regard to as a market share, we are a North Indian brand and we hold a 4.5% market share in North India. And going forward, we are looking at excessive distribution coverage onto at the retail level, and also a deeper penetration at the retail level to gain a larger market share. And we shall be looking forward to strong growth numbers coming in going forward.
Mr. Anup, if you could quantify it for us, at this point of time, the market share is 1%. Can we expect that you can occupy a 5% or 6% market share, say, by 2025?
So, this is a pan-India market share. You're right. We are not available pan-India. But yes, in the going forward, Mrs. Bectors Cremica shall be a very, very strong brand in the baking side of the business. Let it be biscuits, breads, or other products, which are connected to baking. So Mrs. Bectors would be a very strong brand pan-India. So we are also, investing in 23 and 24. We are starting a plant in Dhar, Indore, which shall help us to take our initiative forward to spreading ourselves in the, western and southern and eastern markets going forward.
Mr. Bector, the company delivered a top-line growth. Actually, there was a decline which we saw in FY20 to an extent of 2%. If we analyze the 6-month revenue figure, then the number comes to around 728 crore, and that implies a further degrowth to an extent of 4.5%, if I've got that right. What can be expected for this financial year? What kind of growth are you targeting?
The revenue for the first 6 months is actually 431 crores, and it is 18% above the last year's numbers. And even on the EBITDA side, we have grown exponentially over the last year. We're 84% above the last year numbers. So the company already has grown 18%, in spite that our QSR business had taken a dip because the restaurants were shut. So going forward, we are looking at a very similar growth as a percentage over previous year.
Okay. In that case, FY20 numbers, if not for more, you're trying to replicate FY20 numbers in FY21, both in terms of top line as well as EBITDA. Have I got that right?
No, as a percentage will be higher on the EBITDA front, and on the top line, we shall be growing exponentially against 2020.
When you say exponentially, what kind of growth can we expect?
So the company is growing strong, and we've already shown the 6 months numbers at 431 crores. So you can take a brief from here, what the growth looks like. We are growing in the similar fashion going forward up till now.
Okay, the company plans to utilize fresh issue proceeds for financing project costs towards expansion of the Rajpura manufacturing facility by establishing a new product line for biscuits. How will that contribute to the overall revenue, say, in the span of next 5 years? What kind of additional revenue are you targeting?
So we are going to be adding 14,000 tons of additional biscuits, for in our production facilities. and these products are going to be premium side of the segment, and would be giving a considerably a better revenue than before going forward.
Any numbers that you can put in, sir?
So numbers are very difficult because what are the products which are going to be launched at that? What are the realizations on that? It's going to be a number which is going to be a multiple of what we are probably looking at now, and better than this.
Okay, so say in the next few years after the operation, the commencement of the operation of this particular line that you're expecting, what kind of utilization levels that we can expect or we look forward to in the first year? What kind of realization are you targeting? Any ballpark figures that you can provide us with?
So on the utilization side, we are creating enough capacities for future growth, and we shall be at a capacity utilizations of around a 70-72%, and this will give us a great benefit for growth, getting good growth numbers going forward, and this will be possible with an aggressive reach, which we are taking up to grow our market share in the Indian biscuit industry.
Sure, this utilization level that you're targeting, 70 to 75%, which is the financial year, can we expect this utilization level to come in?
So we are currently at a 72-73%, and we continue to maintain a 72-73% utilizations, capacity utilizations, even going forward.
Okay, in that case, I'd like to understand a small risk that most of the investors or the analyst community has pointed at this point of time. The company does not have a long-term contract with QSR customers, which is also a potential risk that you've highlighted in your RSP. So is that one of the biggest risks that you see? Any dynamics to change that equation?
So with today with McDonald's, we have been we have been with them for 25 years without an agreement. So agreements are not important. The relationships are important. The service is important. So Mrs. Bector, stands out in service and providing a clear value to its relationship partners, and that's what takes forward the relationships. So I think we have a very strong relationship with all QSRs, and we will continue to work with them.
Okay. In terms of exports, then, your company is one of the leading exporters when it comes to biscuits from India, with 12% of Indian biscuit export market in CY19, in calendar year 2019. How much share do you target now in this year, as well as for the coming next few years? Are you, strategizing to inch up your exports?
So yeah, exports is a big focus for us, and approximately 22% of the business comes from exports. We are focusing on building strong relationships with very large, retailers worldwide. And India, total share of Indian exports out of in the total biscuit market is only 2%. So even if I'm 12% of India, but the total India is only 2% exports. So there is an ample amount of opportunity for us to grow in the export segment, going forward.
Okay. I would urge you to give us more numbers so that the financial parameters are a little more clear when it comes to modeling for analysts and investors.
Yeah, surely I would surely do it. I think the next meeting when we have it's going to be full of numbers. But
okay, in terms of market shares in that case, because it's 4.5% in premium and mid-premium biscuit market in North India, I'd like to understand your strategy on geographical expansion.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, for the company 23-24, the company is expanding into Madhya Pradesh. We are putting up a large facility, greenfield project in Dhar, Madhya Pradesh, and that this is going to be our starting point to start supplies into West, South, and East India in a very strong manner. So this will be also helping us increasing our market shares pan-India basis.
Okay, Mr. Anup, one last question that I have for you. I would like to understand one of your USP that distinguishes you from your peers, which could be a potential growth driver that we can expect going forward.
So we, in fact, our company is one of those strong companies, which has 4 verticals of growth. I mean, we have biscuits, which is growing at 9%, and it's a very huge industry. and we have a lot of room to grow in that business. And our biscuits are well accepted, and we are also in the premium and the mid-premium segment. On the bakery side, English Oven is a very highly acceptable brand, with the consumers. Today, we have a 5% market share pan-India. We are growing at 50%. In the last 6 months, we grew 50%. Last 3 years, CAGR, we have grown by 30%. So extremely strong numbers. Our exports, because of our systems, because of our infrastructure, what we have created in our companies, and the registrations, the FDA registration, the BRC registrations, we are today competent enough to supply to the world. So on the QSR side, which is our fourth strong business, the market is expected to grow at 22% CAGR growth in the next 5 years. This is as per Technopack. So effectively, all four verticals are going to be extremely strong in growth, and we shall be looking at benefiting from all the four categories.
All right, Mr. Anup, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for taking out the time and speaking to BloombergQuint. Well, that was the management of the company whose IPO is a huge success at this point of time, premium of more than 70% as compared to the issue price. Says that all the four verticals are expected to clock in strong growth at this point of time. Says that it has maintained the relationships despite not having a long-term agreement. But clients like McDonald's continue to be a part of their customer base right from the last 25 years. It remains to be seen how company delivers on the promising tall targets that the street is expecting at this point of time. But with this, it's a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in.